Welcome to the Project 820 podcast. Podcast disclaimer. The following podcast is just a couple guys riffing back and forth about nerdy stuff, current events, hot button topics, and everything in between. Everything is opinion-based, and sometimes facts will be incorrect and misinformed. No one knows everything, and we aren't always fact-checking while we record. Knowing this, be aware when commenting that a constructive correction is always welcome, but a harassing and aggressive retort will be laughed at and dismissed immediately. That's all. Enjoy the show. This is the Project 820 podcast.
Hey, wait,
Look at that.
Yeah, so we just did some mic checky stuff. Also, just want to let all of our listeners know that we are documenting a period of time where Victor has to urinate.
Yeah, I have to pee, so
Yeah,
I'm going to see how long I can go not peeing. As
we're-
I sit here and drink my giant movie-sized Dr.
Well, you know,
Pepper.
when you finish that, you can just,
I can pee in the cup.
Right, yeah, use the straw as a catheter.
Dude, I'm not on
kind
a
of thing.
fucking road trip. I can go to the bathroom.
No, you can't. We're recording.
I can't.
Yep. So, what's new?
We could talk about... We were just talking about Twitter. We could talk about Twitter. That's a thing.
That is a thing.
That's a social media thing
It is a thing.
that people do. Yeah, stop fucking with knobs.
Well, no, I'm
Paul's
turning,
messing with
I
knobs.
was turning the monitor.
Oh, my knob.
Oh.
All
All
right, that knob.
All right. So Twitter.
Yeah, that's a thing. We've briefly talked about it. Like I remember I have a couple times in different podcasts, but it's interesting to see how fucking popular it is when you can only make little posts that are 140 characters.
Right.
Like, why is that so big?
Yeah. And you know what's annoying when corporations use Twitter and they tweet at you and it's
Yeah.
like, get out of here.
Get out my world.
I don't know, like Twitter to me, because I know Amy, most people know this, but Amy's a feminist and she's very into the feminist community. And Twitter is like a big place where like social justice warriors go to complain about the current state of events, you know?
Yeah.
Or like when in Ferguson when all that was going down, you know, there was a hashtag for that and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so like in my opinion, that's kind of what Twitter is kind of used for, is shaping the society's views on current events and things like that. And then it's also good for like music stuff, and it's really good for the people. And then corporations come in and they're like, hashtag Ferguson, I really like Doritos, don't you guys? I bet you
you
that
could go
kid
for
did too.
a Taco Bell right now.
Right. And it's super annoying because it's just like, okay, corporations, I know that like the government said that you were people and everything, but you're not people. Get off Twitter.
You're not people.
Yeah. And so actually John Oliver had this thing about he made a hashtag call, and it was like, we as a business recognize that we should not have, and this is all one big hashtag. It's like, we as a corporate recognize that we should not get into current events and that we have no point, or we can only hurt ourselves by making tweets about very tricky, you know,
Yeah.
the blah, blah, blah. And it was exactly 140 characters long, the hashtag was, so that they literally couldn't put any of their bullshit in there along
So
with
it's
it.
just hashtag really long hashtag.
Yeah, no, that was pretty funny.
I mean, I like how, gosh, I don't know, because like the people I follow on Twitter are people who I follow them because I want to hear their updates and stuff. Like I follow people who have YouTube channels, and
Yeah.
sometimes they post when they put up a new video, so I want to go see that. Or people that I'm just genuinely interested in seeing, like random stuff they have to say. Like,
Sure.
I mean, and that makes sense. But then you have the people that kind of whore themselves and want a bazillion followers.
Eric!
Yeah. My brother, 23,000 followers.
And how the hell did he get 22,000 followers?
I'm gonna go with magic.
Oh.
That's gonna be my official answer. Otherwise, it works really well to just follow 23,000 people and hope they all follow you back. It worked
Wow.
for him, so
So did he just spend an entire day following random people, or?
probably I think he did it over the course of weeks.
Oh, okay.
Like, and he just slowly followed more and more and had thousands, and then one day unfollowed 20,000 people. And
Wow.
now
Did he lose any followers because
I think
of
he
that?
lost a couple thousand.
Oh, okay.
Like
Huh.
he had like 25,000 or
Right.
something.
Jeez.
What I hate is because you mentioned the corporations and stuff, and they jump on Twitter just to take
Yep.
advantage of
Yep.
any kind of social like media situation. And I hate the fact that when you have like individuals who like celebrities or anything, and they happen to have a Twitter that has like 1 million followers and stuff. Like, okay, I understand you have 1 million followers, but do not go and like pay an intern to like
to tweet
for you,
Yeah.
and don't have like this like God. There's I see this a lot with like wrestlers because I'll follow random ones like, and you'll see all of a sudden that their tweets are just kind of stereotypical and like, oh, you only seem to tweet when it's like promoting a pay-per-view that's on this Sunday
Right.
and stuff. It's like, okay, so that's not even the actual person.
Right.
Like, it's obviously just someone just running a Twitter for them with
Right.
their name on it.
Right.
And that pisses me off because, yeah, you have 1 million followers. I don't expect you to go ahead and retweet everybody and reply to everybody. No one expects that. That's ridiculous.
Right.
But, like, God, hop on there every once in a while.
Right,
And,
and-
like, you see a couple people, like, send something to you. Go ahead and throw a reply out, you know?
Or,
like,
be a person. Because, like, the cool thing about Twitter, when it's like a celebrity that you know and it's actually their tweets,
yeah.
is like you get the sense of the type of person that they are.
Yeah.
And it's always nice, like, when you hear some celebrity, like, dealing with same bullshit at the airport that we do. you
Yeah.
know? And it makes them less celebrity, like, and just more like a person.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if anything, like, the internet, even though it's making everything a whole lot less personal,
Yeah.
it might be making things more.
I think in this case it is because you would never have that connection with any of these people
Right,
otherwise.
yeah.
Granted, there are those people who take that too far and think that, oh my God, it's like I know you, and then all of a sudden you have too many stalkers.
Right, yeah.
But, I still think it's definitely a way to kind of get on their wavelength a little better.
Yeah.
And then, you hate them a little less when
Right.
they're, like, obnoxious about something. You realize, well, okay, the thing is, I do know that they had a really shitty day because they've been tweeting about it all day.
Right.
So the reason they dropped the F-bomb on TV or something
Right, sure,
was
sure.
because this or something like that. Did
Right.
you see Simon Pegg has way too much fun on Twitter. Like, he has a blast on there. I saw he was doing an interview on, I don't know if it was Conan or just one of the late night shows. And what he did was he said something like on his Twitter, like he was hearing this weird noise from like the other room or something he was in, and he said like, I'll just ignore it, yada yada yada. And then like a half hour later he tweets again saying, yeah, that noise is still there, that's weird. And then he tweets again like another half hour later and is like, I'm gonna go check it because it's still there.
Yeah.
And then he didn't tweet for 3 days at all, just nothing. And then so he's getting all these tweets back, like, what happened and stuff, like, where are you and everything. And, like, he ended up, and I think there's more to this, but yeah, he did end up tweeting back, like, after 3 days, like, Simon is gone, like, you're, satanic stuff in there, like,
Sure.
a bunch of Latin and everything, and it's just like, oh my God, like, so he just, and the thing is, he's got, like, 1 million plus followers, probably, so it's just, he just likes fucking with people. And
That's funny.
so.
Did you know Patton Oswalt likes to tweet apologies for things that he's never done?
Really?
Yeah. I think one time he's like, I just want to apologize to all of my African American friends or something like that. And he's like, I understand that what I said was very offensive and I apologize. I hope you can forgive me. He never said anything. Like, he's just fucking with people so that they'll go look him up and whatnot. But
Did you hear that freaking, Adam Richman? He does the Man vs. Food show, and
is he the blonde dude with the super spiky? Oh no, doesn't
that's
he have
Guy
like
Fieri.
black hair?
He's got black hair. He used
Yeah.
to be bigger, and he just lost a bunch of weight.
How? With his
And-
job? How the hell did he?
No, because he hasn't done that show in a while.
Oh, okay.
And he actually, he does like that Food Fighter show on like NBC or ABC or something
Okay.
too. He went on and he's been like really health conscious lately. So yeah, he's lost like probably 80 pounds or something.
Wow.
Like, so he looks amazing. He actually did the cover of some magazine where he was naked and just had like a soccer ball covering his junk. And it was like, damn, you look great. Like, that's amazing. So yeah, he's like doing great and stuff. And then, so he posted like a picture on Instagram or something, and he threw in the hashtag like Thinspiration, which a lot of people use. Like, that's not anything new. But a bunch of people then replied angrily because apparently people have been using that hashtag like for people that are like anorexic too.
Yeah.
So, so there was a bunch of people freaking out at him, and he came back and was just like, are you freaking kidding me? You knew what I meant. Like, I'm not sitting there like fucking promoting anorexia. Like, of course not. Like, that's stupid. And he had there was a couple people on there that just sat and, like, just started chewing him out. And he came back and said, this is a misquote because I don't know the exact quoting, but he did say something along the lines of, like, God, he said, like, go ahead and why don't you just, like, grab a razor blade and draw a bath kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
Okay, so here's the thing.
He was pissed off.
Okay, but when you're a celebrity and you have people, like, the words that come out of your mouth, you're accountable for, right?
Yeah.
And sure, he totally didn't know that hashtag that he was using could have been very offensive to some people. Okay? You suck it up, you bitch to your friends, and you do a public apology, and then you avoid that at all costs. You don't get super defensive and tell people to go kill themselves because, like, honestly, your reputation and your job are hand in hand.
Yeah.
And you need to not be an asshole to the world if you want to continue to have a job. Like, I totally understand that.
It just sucks, because, like, just because he's famous, because I'd probably react the same fucking way if people were being idiots, because it honestly sounds like these people were just being stupid. Like, he was very clearly not using the hashtag, like,
Sure.
in the sense that they're freaking out about, but they're just like, I'm gonna sit here and bitch and troll because I'm getting attention, kind of thing. So yeah, he fucking went on and said, like, because the thing is, he fucking knows what they're doing, like, and yeah, so, and he did cross the line and stuff, like, there's no need to say that. But since he's in a public forum, you know,
yeah, but I think
everyone freaks out.
I think, like, okay, so it's the same thing with Adrian Peterson, for instance. So, like, all right, just hold on.
Yeah. So, please explain, because that's very different.
So, like, for me, for instance, I work as a web programmer. If I were to hit my kid and police got involved, I probably wouldn't lose my job. Everybody at work would hate me. That's for damn sure. But I probably wouldn't lose my job. Adrian Peterson should lose his job. And the whole reason he should is because he's not just getting paid to be a football player. He's also getting paid to be
like a role model and, like, and to be in the public eye.
Yeah, because like, he's an entertainer, you know?
Yeah.
And so he should lose his job. For instance, if my sister, who's a school teacher, if she got, in trouble for beating her child at home, she would lose her job right away. Because she works with kids.
That's mostly because she works with kids.
So, I mean, depending on the job that you have, there are different, consequences that happen from things that happen in your personal life. Whereas with him, yes, he didn't mean offense. Yes, it's kind of stupid, but at the same time, if people are offended, and especially if enough people are offended, you need to swallow your pride, say you're sorry, say it won't happen again, delete the tweet, bitch to your friends.
Yeah.
Don't let it get out. Just because I mean, it's a pissing match, and if you really want to be better than that, then you just don't get involved with the pissing match. You just say you're sorry and back off.
I honestly think the biggest difference between, like, if, like, you beat your kid and Adrian Peterson beats his kid, like, I'd say the biggest difference is the fact that if you beat your kid, it does not negatively affect your workplace in any way.
Right.
Like, I mean, unless, like, for whatever reason you're sitting on social media spamming everything about how you love beating kids and stuff and actually, like, being, like, out in, like, the public eye kind of thing. But, like, if you're just, like, a guy and, like, you got charged with this and you're waiting to go to court kind of thing and you got out on bail, like, and, like, the thing is that's not going to negatively impact your workplace in any way.
Right.
Whereas, with Adrian Peterson, he is in the public eye, so all of a sudden stories are thrown around and stuff, and he's like sitting fucking whipped his kid and shit.
Right.
And all this stuff. He is in the public eye, and that does negatively, like, that puts a big shadow over the NFL as a whole. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the Vikings suspended him immediately. Like, the second they found out. I don't think he's fired. I think he's just really...
No, he got suspended for a couple games. Which, I don't know, I think they should fire him because, honestly, and then what's his name, the commissioner of football came up and he was just like, or whatever the hell his freaking title is, I don't care, he's an idiot. And he basically said nothing for 45 minutes. He was like, we understand that there's a problem and we are going to fix that problem. And then we're going to do more. And it's just like, okay, talk about ponies or anything else because you're saying absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Like, for Christ's sakes, you're not going to do anything and we know it. Get rid of... Okay, I think they're getting rid of... Ray Rice is suspended indefinitely, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he is.
They need to suspend Adrian Peterson indefinitely. And they need to take a tougher stance on everything. Just because if they actually want anything to change, fucking kick people out. It's never going to happen again if you keep kicking people out.
I found some list of, like... And the fact that this list even exists is, like, a big sign that shit's fucking broken.
Oh, yeah.
Is that it was, like, a list of how many players on each NFL team have the most people with felonies kind of thing and stuff like that. And and Minnesota is at number 1. They're tied with someone else, I think. It's like them and like, I don't know if it's like the Cowboys or something like that. I'm not sure, but I know Minnesota was in first place because there's like 13 people who have like fucking felonies
I'm sure.
and shit.
And the thing too is like, it honestly does depend on what the charges were and what happened.
Yeah.
But there's
everything is situational,
right.
but there's so much of it now that it's hard to treat each situation as it's situational
right.
because there's so much of it
right.
that all of a sudden you kind of have to just throw everyone to the same standard. Otherwise, it would take years to deal with all
honestly,
this crap.
in my opinion, if the whole Ray Rice situation didn't happen, Adrian Peterson wouldn't be under as much fire as he is right now.
I don't know. That's a kid though. That's very
I know,
different.
but nobody gave a shit about Ray Rice until an actual video came out. Like, it had been months that they knew that he knocked his girlfriend out.
Yeah.
But the video didn't come out. So nobody gave a shit.
That's because it wasn't really in the public eye.
Yeah, but you know what? Football players beat up their wives all the time. So who gives a shit?
That's pretty normal.
And that's kind of what people were thinking. Is like, oh, well, he's a good football player and boo-hoo for him. Fuck him. He beat his wife. He deserves to go to prison. Fuck him. Like, honestly.
I do laugh how, like... like in light of all this stuff, you have to look at the fact that, well, guess what? The Vikings suck dick now because their entire like game was like around Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, but
now they're screwed. Well, yeah, no, it's like that's no reason to like. Well, can we like give him a break because I mean, otherwise we're really really bad.
Yeah. No, it's I don't know. They should invest in people who are less stupid.
I will say back to Adam Richman. He was just about to start a new show on Travel Channel. Mm-hmm. That got canceled.
Okay.
And then I heard a rumor that he might have gotten fired from the NBC, the Food Fighter show. Okay. They might be getting in a new host. I don't know if that's true. I know he was going to finish out the season that he was doing, but I don't know if they were going to bring in someone else.
But I don't know if I feel bad for him because yes, the original choice he made by using like the Thinspiration hashtag was a mistake, and getting in trouble for that is kind of like, okay, well, you didn't know what you were doing.
I don't even think it was a mistake because like things were just taken wrong by like a small group of people that chose to just take it a certain way, even though he obviously he didn't mean it that way. Like people just say, like, I mean, I could say like, oh, that person's like a fucking idiot kind of thing, and like one person could take that very differently than the way someone else takes that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he offended a group of people, right? And then instead of just backpedaling and saying, look, I'm sorry, I'll take it down, I won't use that again, I'll blah 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 blah, and just like coming across as a decent person that like, even though maybe he didn't get it and he didn't he's still gonna come off apologetic because his image is his career. Yeah. You have to protect that. You can't be a dick to people. So, I mean, honestly, all he needed to do was apologize off the bat, and it wouldn't have been a thing ever. Like, people might have been, but he would have, if he just kept coming and saying, I'm sorry, it was really dumb, and I shouldn't have done that, but, now I know more. And bam! It's done. Yeah. But he decided to make a big deal out of it, so I don't feel bad for him.
I would say the only thing I feel bad about is the fact that he can't react the same way that you or I could because we're not in that public forum. Granted, he gets paid a lot of money to be in that public forum. Like, so part of his job is just to present himself kind of better than other people. Yes. Because the thing is that anyone else may have reacted the same way he hadn't gotten no flack for it kind of thing. So I do feel bad for the fact that, wow, you can't react like a human would have. You have to have this perfect public image all the time kind of thing. And the thing is this wasn't just him flying off the handle. There was multiple people like just digging at him, and like this wasn't like this out of the blue thing like he just got hot and just like flew off the handle. Like this was like brought up like from like nothing and made worse and worse and worse by these people just fucking trolling him and stuff. And yeah, I mean, the thing is at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, part of your job as an entertainer and a celebrity is to kind of be above that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he is seeing some flack and some negative stuff, and that's on him, like it is.
Yeah.
But it still kind of sucks that wow, you have to act differently because of this stuff.
But even here, like on this podcast, if I were to offend somebody, I would even if I was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, you shouldn't be offended by that, I would still start off with an apology right off the bat, and I would just kind of roll over because. Like, you don't want to piss a bunch of people off, That's why
I guess I don't care as much when piss people off, because, like, I would honestly, like, if someone came on and, like, posted this really long, like, elaborate comment about something I said, like, that's like you really can't speak like this because, like, there is the potential for a lot of people to see this, and you may impact people and stuff. And honestly, I'd come back and, like, yeah, I would start with, like, kind of like, I'm sorry that you were offended, but, like, that's the way I view, that's the way I behave kind of thing. Like, I'm not going to, like, apologize for the way that I am and stuff. Like, I'm sorry that I offended you personally, and I appreciate the fact that like, and the thing is, there's a big difference between respectfully saying something to me and saying how, oh yeah, this offended me personally kind of thing, and coming on and saying, you fucking idiot, I fucking hate you, you piece of shit, why would you ever say that kind of stuff. Like, there's a big difference between the way you handle that.
But I mean, yes, the person coming at you calling you a fucking idiot and blah blah is not being very mature.
I know.
However, you have to be the bigger man, especially when you're like when you're the one who started it, and when you're the one in the public eye, you absolutely have to have the more mature stance all the time.
I guess my mature stance would be not flying off the handle.
Right, yeah.
Because I would definitely, my entire approach, unless, like, I genuinely felt bad for what I said, that makes a big difference.
Right,
but
yeah.
if it would probably boil down to, like, I'm sorry I offended you. I'm not sorry for what I said, though. Like, I'm sorry that you got offended for this, like, but that's on you. That's not me, like, kind of thing. Because, I don't know, like, I mean, and the thing is, sometimes you just barf stuff that,
oh yeah,
maybe
no,
you shouldn't be saying.
Because everybody says shit that they wish they didn't.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's oh, excuse me, I burped. And I apologize for the burp.
Hey, don't be offensive, Paul.
But the thing is how you handle the aftermath of fucking up, because everybody does. It's part of being human. Yeah. But I mean, if you can maturely go up and say, yeah, I fucked up and I'm sorry, then usually the heat will go. You can usually spin bad press into good press just by being a good person that apologizes.
That's what
even
Jonah
when you
Hill
totally
did.
Don't understand.
Jonah Hill came out and he said something offensive. I don't know. I think he called a paparazzi that was harassing him, like someone that was harassing him like all day long and was like in his face. I think he called him a faggot.
Oh, okay.
And he came on the thing is, he was right in the middle of promoting his new movie, because I think they were promoting 22 Jump Street.
Gotcha.
And he came on talk shows immediately and apologized up and down and said, like, I have no problem with the gay community at all. I have friends that are gay. Like, I have no problems. I was really hot, and, like, I flew off the handle. Like, I am really sorry. And, like, he was fucking almost crying on TV.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was upset with himself. It's like, that's how you handle those fuck ups.
Yes.
Is, be the better man. Come up and own up to it, kind of thing.
And I mean, that probably he took that from being like probably relatively like, oh great, another Hollywood person hates gay people, great, and to like, oh awesome, he got mad and he said a word that he would rather have not have said, and when you do something like that, you show your maturity level, and as an entertainer, it looks really freaking good. Yeah. And it's gonna get you because first of all, no press is bad press. Getting your name out there is always good. Yeah. But then when you're getting your name out there for saying that you did screw up and that you're sorry, it means that you're capable of empathy, and people like that.
I don't see this situation impacting his career negatively much at all.
No.
Like, the thing is like 6 months from now, people may not even like think twice about it. Like
Sure.
I only remembered the fact that it even happened because we were talking about like this kind of stuff.
Sure, yeah.
Like if you just brought up Jonah Hill, I wouldn't think of it at all.
Yeah.
Unless we're talking about that kind of stuff.
Right.
So
Yeah. So
like,
I mean, if that guy is obviously very in the public arena, if he had a show on NBC, and like, why not go on like News Today and just be like, yeah, and I'm sorry for that we took it down, blah blah blah. Bam, it's over. People love you again. And the people who are like, you're a fucking idiot and I hate you, ignore it. Like after you've apologized and after everything's done, maybe throw one more tweet out there that just says, again, I just want to tell all my fans, thank you for accepting my apology, blah 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 blah, just so that people know that you apologized. And then it's over.
the thing is,
you don't have to make a big freaking deal about
once
things.
you come out and you put out that genuine apology and like you make your case and you explain everything, and you really put yourself on the line there. Once you do that, like there is no point in sitting there stewing on it, kicking yourself for it anymore. Like
No.
it's done. And if people want to sit on Twitter and harass you for a month
Then
or something,
ignore 'em, block
then yeah,
it,
just ignore them. Like there's
Yeah.
literally like you gain nothing from sitting there and apologizing to every asshole on Twitter.
Well, no.
Like,
I wasn't saying that he should do
Yeah,
that.
no, I know.
I was just
It's
saying
just-
to the community in a whole, considering he's in the public arena, he has the tools he needs to send out a mass apology for most people to hear.
Yes.
And if he would have done that to begin with, we wouldn't be talking about it right now.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been a news event. It would have just been like, oh, some asshole said something that he didn't mean to say and then apologized for it. Okay, business is normal.
News is over.
Yeah. And so yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't feel bad for him, like, at all. I really don't care.
Okay. You're talking about Adam Richmond now, right?
Yes,
You went
yes,
back.
yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, no, like he fucked up and he didn't handle it the way he should have. So sucks, but
yeah.
what you gonna do?
Yep.
All right.
All right.
I'm gonna go take a piss.
Oh, he didn't make it.
I didn't make
He
it.
didn't make it.
I made it 25
Pausing
minutes.
I-20 podcast, the podcast of the podcast. We're probably going to cut all this out, and if we don't, we'll
We'll be right back. And we're back to the 820 podcast. Okay, so we were talking about music stuff earlier. This morning we were sitting recording drums and stuff for our music endeavors, and we were talking about we were talking about Slipknot
Yeah.
a little bit and touching on because they've had a couple members leave the band by way of
Death and fighting.
by way of divine intervention and singing telegrams. So
Yes. Yeah. Joey Jordison, the
drummer,
got fired by singing Telegram. And I should probably pull up. They have the actual lyrics
for the singing
for
telegram.
the singing Telegram.
Oh my god. Can you sing it? Will you sing it, please?
Well, no, because I don't know the tune that the singing Telegram.
Just do it to like Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Is that what they usually do?
I think that's what you're gonna do.
Is it?
I don't know.
Is this like filler just while I find this thing?
I think this would be amazing. Yeah.
Jordison.
Wow, you can't. You spell good. I got third place in my 4th grade spelling bee. There was only 3 people. I spelled cat almost right.
Oh, come on. You have signal. Come on. You can do this. Yeah, we could probably pause. No, we're not pausing. All right.
Well, I mean, I have a computer. Joey Jordison.
Fired.
Singing.
Singing. Yeah, you could just probably go like singing Telegram.
What is that? Oh, that's your phone.
There it goes. This is the first one.
Put your phone in your pocket. You said the first one?
The first one. And if you scroll down, right there.
Oh God. Okay. Let's see here. So the lyrics are. Should I just talk them?
Yeah, just talk.
Okay. I am your singing telegram. I'm gonna sing it a little bit. I am your singing telegram. I'm gonna do like a poem.
Okay.
I am your singing telegram.
Do you want me to get the bongo out?
the
So it could be
djembe?
like,
You
it could
could.
be like slam poetry.
Yeah, go grab it.
Go get it.
Go grab it.
Okay.
Oh God, we have so many chords here. We're gonna fucking fall and die.
No, that's fine. It's fine. I got this.
Okay, safe. Whew. Yes, we're in a place that happens to have an infinite amount of instruments. They never end. So, this is going to be a spoken word telegram of how Joey Jordison was Jordison. Was it Jordison?
Jordison.
God, that's
Joey
so
Jordison.
stupid. His parents should be ashamed for having that last name.
All right.
Okay. I am your singing telegram, sent to you this December, to let you know you're not a member of our band anymore. So don't get hit by the door on your way out. It's no use to cry and shout. You were once one of the 9. Without you, we'll be fine. What will not be without me? Well, we'll tell you and you'll see. We've already hired a Jew to take the drum spot away from you. No, this message ain't in jest. Yes, we wished you all the best. We just don't want you with us when we get back on the bus. Please don't try to beg or barter. Now you have more time for Scar the Martyr. Yay, Joey! P.S. In case it wasn't clear, you're fired.
There we go.
Well, I think we should start a singing telegram service. Like, I feel like that's what we've established from this encounter.
Yeah. So the Jew that they hired, and like, okay, I've seen this in one place, so I'm not sure if this is totally legit or not, because it seems pretty out of the ordinary. But I looked at a couple other articles on there, and they all seemed like semi-legit.
Yeah.
So I think this might be real. Anyway, the Jew that they claim to have replaced him with is most likely Max Weinberg's son, who everybody knows from Conan, and he's the drummer for Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
And his son, I think it's Jay Weinberg.
Yeah.
An amazing drummer.
Yep.
And so pretty sure they replaced Jordanson with him. So, I really hope that we get popular just because we slam poetried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They say on this article too that like Dave Lombardo from Slayer and Gene Hoglan from Fear Factory, they were fired from their respective bands because they read about it online.
Yeah. And I think it says somewhere else in there too that somebody possibly fired one of their members with plane writing.
Yeah. Meanwhile, there's a rumor going around that the faceless Michael Keane prefers to let band members go via skywriting. We're trying to get confirmation on that for you now.
That's insane.
It's just skywriting. It's just like, hey, dude, you should step outside. Why? Just do it. You just go outside and it says you're fired in the sky. Well, damn it. I don't know to be mad or impressed. Mostly mad.
Yeah. I don't know. It'll be... Slipknot's newest album is coming out here soon. And, yeah, I'm really curious. Like, Devil and I, the 2 singles have come out already. And, I don't know. I don't know if it's just me thinking that they're going to be missing something because Jordanson is gone. Or if they actually have taken on more of a like
a hard rock sound as
like
opposed to like the metal sound or
well yeah like what's Corey's other band
Stone Sour
because it almost I don't know.
My biggest worry is I feel like they might, and I think this is going to happen, they might have the same issue that Metallica, not Metallica, I'm thinking of Metallica because Metallica's the problem, Avenged Sevenfold had. Because when their drummer, because they had the Rev die a couple years back, and then I think they had another guy quit. They had another drummer fill in and then quit. But the new drummer they got is a Metallica freak. So every single song is the Metallica beat, like the main one.
So every once in a while, do you just hear a?
I'm expecting it when I listen to their new album. When I'm listening to their new album, like I'll hear a beat going, and I'm just like, no, this is exactly like a Metallica song that I've heard. Like, and I'm a little worried that
it's not gonna go away.
I just because the thing is the drummer they have in, I don't think he's widely, I mean, unless he has a style that mirrors something that's like distinct. Like Metallica's drumming has a very distinct sound, and Avenged Sevenfold's drumming has a very distinct sound, and Slipknot's drumming has a very distinct sound.
Yeah.
Like you hear drumming, like if you hear drumming and like it sounds like a certain thing, you'd be like, oh, that's definitely Slipknot, or oh, that's definitely like Rush.
Yep.
Like that's a big one too. Like if someone came in and tried to drum for Rush and they didn't do the same shit that they're already doing, it'd just be like, oh, what is this? This isn't Rush. This makes no sense. Like, so I'm worried that without Joey in Slipknot, it's just gonna have such a different sound. It's gonna be weird.
And you know, and the two new songs that I've listened to, like, I don't really know how to explain Jorgensen's drum patterns, but they were just like fast and kind of muffled almost.
Yeah.
But like that sound was just so, it was like a punch in the face is kind of the best way to explain what it sounded like. And I fucking love that sound. It's what I want in my drums all the time. But with the new guy, it is, you can tell it's a little different, and I don't know, cause like Jay Weinberg's style when I listen to him and his dad do like a drum off thing, and their styles are pretty close to the same, but it's just, I don't know, it just feels like, I don't know, Jorgensen was just, cause he played guitar too, he learned guitar first, he wrote most of their music, as far as I know. There's a lot of speculation that he wrote all of their newest album. Not the one that's coming out, but the one prior to it.
No idea.
The one with Psychosocial on it.
Oh, okay.
So there's a lot of speculation that he wrote all of that, and that part of the reason that he was fired, total speculation, because the band has still not come out and said why they did it, and they probably never will. But a lot of speculation is that the band was annoyed with him doing all the work, and then having them come in, do their recordings, and then leave. Because I know that Jorgensen did a lot of Iowa, was him, and then the Psychosocial was also a lot of him.
I feel like, and again, this is speculation, but I mean, I could easily see for, someone like Corey Taylor, who has he's very creative and he has like a very outgoing personality kind of thing. For someone like that, to have his creativity stifled in any way, I could easily see him having a major issue.
Yeah, the thing is that Jorgensen had been in the band for like 17, 18 years.
Yeah.
And like, you think that this kind of headbutting would have happened a long time ago, unless
maybe they avoided it because, like, I mean, maybe that's maybe it came to a head right when Corey started Stone Sour.
Yeah.
Maybe then he kind of got his creative outlet there, so he kind of rolled with it, and now it's finally just to the point where he's just tired of it.
Well, and then Jorgensen too.
Speculation.
Jorgensen too had a side project.
Wasn't it like Scars of Martyr? Yeah.
And it's pretty good. The only thing that I didn't like about their album is I was expecting a lot more screaming.
Yeah.
And it's a lot, like, the singer's voice that they have kind of has a higher voice. Mm-hmm. And I was really hoping for somebody who sounded a lot more like Corey.
Yeah.
But from what I've read, he got fired from the band. The singer did.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it's the same thing where it's just like his voice wasn't quite what was needed.
I wonder what you would do to kind of, I guess I compare that to like thinking about how the offshoot bands for like System of a Down worked out. Because like you think of like Scars on Broadway, like that.
Well, I mean, Scars on Broadway, it was good, but it was missing Serge.
The biggest
and then
issue
Serge's
is
stuff was missing Darren. It was like, come on, you guys, you need to.
What do you
together.
do in that situation though? Because do you kind of just pretend to be a smaller version of System of a Down, or do you try to branch off in your own direction, be different? You know. So this is kind of like with these like the Scars and Martyr stuff, or
Scars of Martyr.
Scars of Martyr, yeah. Like it's kind of like that. Like, well, do I try and just be kind of like the knockoff Slipknot kind of thing because I have enough of the elements with myself that I can make it sound that sound, and then try to bring in someone who sings like Corey, and then just do my best and hope it catches? Or do I try and do my own thing completely genuinely separate, and go for my own style, my own sound?
Yeah.
Like what do you do in that situation? Because
the thing is,
I don't know if it would be well received to like just be like a little copycat kind of thing.
But the thing is, like Slipknot's sound, I believe, was Jorgensen's creation.
Yeah.
I believe that what Slipknot is today, has a lot to do with, mostly to do with Jorgensen.
Yeah.
And then I think Corey brought in like kind of a different element to it with his voice being badass. Let's
Yeah.
it's amazing. And so honestly, like when now that Jordanson has been fired, and he'll probably make Scars of Martyr his full-time gig.
Yeah.
I'm honestly more excited about what they're going to come out with than I am what Slipknot is going to come out with. Because honestly, Slipknot, like,
Slipknot is like forced to backpedal a little, like, because they have to. This next album, they have to basically just kind of reassure their fan base that they can still do what the fans are expecting of them. Like, if their plan for this album was to be, like, out there and really innovate and come up with something completely new, like...
But they can't.
They can't do that at this point.
What they have to do is bunker down and go back to, like, what they were during Iowa.
Yeah.
And they're not. What they're doing right now is they're branching out and trying something new.
Yeah.
Which... Yeah, you'd want to do that after part of the reason they got rid of Jordanson, I'm sure, is because they wanted to do something new, and Jordanson was like, no. I would think that was part of it.
Yeah.
Speculation. But, but like, I don't know, I just, like, Stone Sour is just kind of annoying to me. Like, their music is just a little too whiny. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just kind of like, I miss you and I love you, but you don't love me. And like a lot of their music is just like, come on, be mad. Quit being
That's
hurt.
what
Be
Slipknot's
mad.
for. Like,
and
when Corey Taylor's mad, he goes and records for Slipknot. And when he's sad, he goes and records for Stone Sour. And when he's happy, he, doesn't waste his time recording. He spends time with his family.
But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I don't really know what the hell Slipknot is going to be. Like, when their whole album comes out, damn right, I'm going to listen to it immediately.
Well, yeah.
And there'll probably be a few songs on there that I like, but if it's like Stone Sour, I'm going to be like, okay, bye. I'll listen to Iowa and
when drummers leave bands, it just fucks shit up.
And you wouldn't think so, because it's my drummer, But each drummer does definitely have their own...
Because the thing is I think of like 3 Days Grace, because they had their vocalist leave mid-tour. He just fucking said, later, guys.
Yeah. And
they brought in a guy who sounded enough like him, and they're doing fine. And now they're writing new stuff, and like the vocalist is, I mean, he's kind of keeping it in that style, but he's bringing in some of his own stuff, and it still sounds like 3 Days Grace. Like, it's still good,
Wow.
Like, so, but yeah, you pull a drummer out, and all of a sudden the foundation of these songs is going to be vastly different unless you bring someone in who knows going in, okay, your job is to play just like the old person.
Yep.
Like, that's what you have to do.
Well, and the thing, too, as a drummer is, like, when you hear a guitar, you can't think in the same rhythm as the other drummer.
Yeah.
So you're going to do things slightly different. So for new songs, you're not going to sound like that old sound. And your kit, you don't have the same kit. That's a huge difference, Like, kits can make a big difference. So yeah, it's when you get a new drummer,
it'll be interesting.
It changes. Yeah, it will be really interesting to see what happens to Slipknot. Honestly, I feel like getting rid of, like, part of the reason why I'm just like really not all that excited about Slipknot anymore is because Jordanson was totally blindsided by this firing.
Yeah.
And if they're going to get rid of one of their people who's been there from the beginning, which is like 17, 18 years, and they're just going to be like, fired. And if the singing telegram thing is true,
yeah,
like, that's a level of disrespect for one of your core members that I don't want to put up with. Like, if you're going to be that big of a dick, then I don't like you as a person, and I don't think I can like your music then.
I give him points for creativity.
Yeah.
But I wish the creativity was used in something other than firing someone.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, granted, it is a little bit
it makes
funny.
me giggle.
Yeah.
But
at the same time,
still
it's
just
like
you really couldn't at least fucking call the guy and tell him yourself. Like,
yeah.
That's just kind of skeevy.
Yeah. And like according to the article, he's like, well, I was sitting on my computer playing Skyrim, and somebody rang the doorbell, and I was like, who the fuck is this? I go over, and there's this dude dressed up like a freaking bellboy. And it was just,
So they got a legitimate singing, like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
God.
so it's just, I don't know, it, like, honestly, mad props for sitting at home and playing Skyrim. That's pretty awesome. Like, I like to know that my musical, the people that I enjoy musically are nerds. I love that.
Yeah. It's fun to find out, like, oh, yeah, this person happens to be, like, big into Warcraft or something.
Right.
Like, I think I found out that Henry Cavill, I don't know how to say this.
Who's
He
that?
plays Superman in Man of
okay.
Steel. He plays WoW.
Nice.
So it's just like, yeah, like, that's cool. And then I found out after Robin Williams passed, too, that he played
WoW,
a bunch of WoW, like, 10 years ago or
Right.
5-10 years
Named
ago.
his daughter Zelda.
Yep. Yeah. Like, okay, so we got some closet nerds here. Like, I love it. But, so it's cool to have those, again, with, like, the Twitter stuff, too. It's like, you know, that little level of connection is a little refreshing since you used to have no connection.
Right.
So.
All right, well, should we move on? We've been talking about Slipknot for quite a while.
Yeah, let's move on from that kind of stuff. What would you like to discuss next?
I don't know. I was hoping you knew.
Okay. How about Microsoft's move
Oh, shit!
to announce Windows not 9, but 10?
You know, and the reason I think they're doing this
I think we both are kind of speculating.
is because they
why
want to
this
get
is.
so far away from 8.
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm amazed they didn't call it, like, Microsoft over 9,000.
Yeah.
Come on, 4chan users, please, for the love of God, you're keeping us alive.
Windows 88,000.
From the sounds of it, it'll be a free upgrade from 8 to 10.
Yes.
So
That's what I've heard.
they are trying to fucking kill 8.
Yeah, they want to bury that shit. Like,
Wow.
that's.
I mean, and honestly,
I think Microsoft caught on to the fact that their every other operating system thing is like pretty much solid.
Oh, yeah.
So they're like, well, what if we just skip the bad one?
well, and I think too, yeah, they do have a pattern of good, bad. And I think, I wouldn't be surprised if 8 or if 10 becomes like their LTS,
Yeah.
like long-term support release, and then 11 will be like a new, hey! And then 12 will be a long-term support release. And then I would bet that they're gonna change their pattern to being free upgrade from the first one to the second one, but not a free upgrade from 10 to 11. That'll be you have to buy. But that way, that's gonna be how they do service packs.
I'm really hoping that they kind of fall into. No, this isn't a spoken word thing. It's okay. No, Paul, it's. Okay, I'm really hoping that for 10, it's more of like a, kind of like how, I don't know, I guess, I mean, every OS they've been putting out, like, kind of does this, but I'm hoping that this is more the focus, that instead of pushing, because we've had a new Windows every year and a half, 2 years, over the last few years.
Yeah.
I'd rather see 10 come out, it sticks around till 2020, and they just patch it and put in upgrades and service packs.
So
and
they
stuff.
have like some sort of rolling release thing.
Yeah, like I would much rather have that than have them put out a new OS every other year. And
but
it's
how
just
the hell
like
are they going to make money? Like their whole
it's
release
all about
thing,
fucking money.
Their whole release thing is totally about money.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you know, because then they can force you. But I think they're realizing with XP especially now that they've kind of their innovation is now what's hurting them.
Yeah.
So the updates to the interface scare old people, and let's face it, old people
They
know
scare
how to use
young.
Windows.
They scare me, and I ain't
Yeah.
old.
and
They scare everybody.
and the thing is that like, they realize that Vista is this big scary upgrade, you know?
Yeah.
Because it was shit. And then they were like, well, people will get onto 7. But then 7 was like different. So then people were like, well, XP is still working for me.
Yeah.
And then 8. And they were like, well, then people will switch from XP to 8 because, you know, you're pretty far back. But 8 was horrible.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a start menu. There wasn't, like, it was just a pile of crap. And they realized that that's why XP is sticking around. And then they were like, okay, we're not supporting XP anymore.
Yeah.
The week they said they weren't supporting XP anymore, it's kind of a side note, but this big bug came out with Internet Explorer 6 through 11, and it basically allowed somebody, like, if you went to a certain site, it would allow them to execute code on your computer, so they could basically install, like, a virus.
Spyware, malware, adware.
And so anyway, so then they made that update, and they said this is the last update XP will ever get. And now there are hundreds and hundreds of known vulnerabilities for XP.
Yeah.
And people are still using it. And the reason people are using it is because there's a lot of, like, credit card software stuff out there.
Yeah.
That hasn't been updated in years, but it still works on XP.
Yep.
And so if you update it...
A lot of businesses use the older OSs, which is so fucking terrifying.
I'm pretty sure... Okay. I'm not positive, because I just saw it hardly. But you know those self-checkouts at, like, Target?
Yeah.
I think those have XP on them.
Really?
I know for a fact that they have Windows on them.
Yeah.
Because I saw one crash one time, and it like crashed out of the program to make your payments and shit to
the desktop.
The desktop.
Yeah.
And I wasn't on that one. I just looked over, and the lady next to me, it crashed on her.
Yeah.
And she's like, "I need help!" And I looked over, and it's either Vista, like super shitted down where it looks like crap, or it was XP.
God.
And like I just caught a glimpse of it because me and Amy were like walking out.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
Like I don't want to even shop here.
Like I would assume because I'm really hopefully thinking that it wasn't because Target did just get fucking blasted.
Yeah.
With the whole credit card thing, and the Home Depot did too. The exact same problem. Their HVAC system was set up with their credit card system. Stupid. Anyway, so I would really think that they would have been on top of it and been like, we can't have XP on those things because XP is outdated.
I just wish everyone would at least, because like, yeah, Vista's shit, but just jump to 7. Like, at least that's a solid OS, like you're not going to have issues with that. Like 8's crap, so don't use 8. Like
8.1 isn't bad, but it's just the whole, we want to make one operating system that works on everything. And it's like, no, no, for the love of God, no. Because of different screen sizes, different touch capabilities, you can't make. That's the dumbest thing ever.
Talking
desktop
about
is a desktop, tablet is a tablet.
Jumping back to like Windows 10 and what they're now talking about for this is they're offering a free upgrade from 8.1 to 10. And then they've come out and said, because they have a new CEO at Microsoft. He's only been there for like a year, I think. But he came out and he said the goal with 10 is to have all of our media, like, so he's talking about the Xbox, the PCs, the tablets, the phones, everything. He says we want all of that to be in the same family. We don't intend on having them all use the same UI. That's not the goal.
Yes.
So I was like, thank you.
Because like
that was the big problem.
It'll be the same kernel. It'll be a lot of the same lower.
Yeah.
But the very top layer, which is your UI, will be designed for the specific device.
A big thing they're pushing is they're actually trying to get a lot of the apps that will work on the PC to work on an Xbox. Okay. They're actually trying to do that too. People are worried that that's going to flood the Xbox App Store, which is crap now.
Sure.
But I mean, and that may happen.
But is that
that also
a bad
opens up a lot of new stuff that you can do on like your console. So yeah, they're pushing for this to kind of, again, everything part of the same family, but not. That doesn't mean the UI is going to be the same.
I wonder too if Microsoft is then going, because does Microsoft have? They kind of have an app store.
Yeah. No, they don't really have a store. They kind of use I think they just use a Google Play for for like their phones.
Well, because like I wonder
because they're technically in the Android family sort of, like they use that like stuff. They have enough crap on there that they can use those. They just don't always work right. So I don't think they actually have an app store for that though.
So because they have like an app store for Xbox, right?
Yes.
So I wonder if they're going to take their Xbox App Store and update that, and then if they want to make stuff that runs on
phones and tablets,
also run on computers, and like if they want software to just be on the entire landscape of devices, right? I wonder if they'll take that App Store and put it on everything, so then finally finally Windows will have like an actual app software
I think
center.
that's the plan. Is
Because-
to just kind of open that up so that you'll have one store
Yeah.
that you can touch with tablets, phones.
Because like Mac
console.
has that, correct? Mac has an
They have
app.
Apple, yeah.
Yeah, and so like you can go there and you can be like, I need a music player, and you type it in and it gives you a bunch of programs that you could install, right?
No, yeah, the Apple App Store is accessible from every Apple medium.
Okay.
So, and it's the same store. It's just they will tailor what you see based on what device you're on. So if I'm accessing it from my phone,
Right.
it'll look a little different than if I'm accessing it from my
Right.
iMac. But
Because
it's the same store.
honestly, Windows is the only operating system that I know of
Yeah.
where when you download software, you have to go on the internet and use a web browser to find it,
Yeah.
which is dumb because then you can't verify that it's free of viruses.
Yeah.
And you can't verify where it's coming from.
Well, does Linux have something similar?
Oh God, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Linux has what they have set up is they're called repos,
Okay.
and it's so each distribution usually has its own repo servers where they put all of the software that you'll ever need on there.
Yeah.
And it comes pre-compiled, so you can just install it and it runs. And then you have a package manager client, and then that client that is command-based, but then usually there's like a GUI, a user interface that's also built in, like Ubuntu has the Ubuntu Software Center.
Okay. So they do have just kind of like an interactive like app store kind of
Yeah.
thing.
And the thing is, there is proprietary software on there too. Yeah. So in other words, there's software that you have to purchase. It's not free.
Yeah.
And you can actually put Steam onto. You can get Steam from
their
your
software
app
center.
store,
Yeah.
and then there's tons of games that you can download. Like Linux is now a decent gaming box. It doesn't have everything, but there are a lot of startup companies out there right now that are designing wrappers for games so that it will take a Windows compiled game and put a wrapper on it and then sometimes run better on Linux.
I'm seeing a lot of like, especially on Steam, because Steam has like pretty much every game on Steam works for Windows, but very few work for Mac, and it's now kind of balanced out. So about the same amount that work for Mac work for Linux too, and Linux is catching up. Like it's actually going to surpass Mac soon. I think.
Yeah, and I think that's because there's actually more of a demand out there for Linux games right now than Mac games, because I think a lot of the reason why people buy a Mac is because they want to do.
It's not for gaming.
No, it's more for like audio recording, video Mac is very strong.
Audio and video editing, that kind of stuff,
and
like design work,
Photoshop
those
design
kind of
work.
things.
Yeah, that's where Macs are like super powerful.
And then like general office use, like that kind of stuff, like you can't go wrong with something like that.
No.
But yeah, if your focus is you want to be doing gaming and stuff like that, like
then
PCs and like now
Windows,
Linux is starting to catch up to that too.
But I mean, Windows is still going to be your best bet.
Yes.
If you're a gamer, you're going to need a Windows partition.
Find a friend who can build PCs.
Yeah.
Have them build you something glorious for half the price of an iMac.
But I would say, and also there's some, I'll try not to get technical here, but there are some issues with building games for Linux.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to make a game work on a single distribution of Linux. But if you've ever dove into the Linux world, Linux is not an operating system.
Yeah.
It's a kernel. Then that kernel is used amongst hundreds of distributions.
Yep.
So you have Ubuntu, you have Mint, you have Arch, you have Fedora, you have Red Hat, you have CentOS, which is technically a server, but whatever.
There's a lot though.
There's a ton.
Whereas you look at something like Windows, and they have Windows 8 and like Windows Server is really old, I think.
But
and that's
even
it.
still, that's not the same, because like Windows is Windows.
Yeah.
It's a whole operating system.
Well, like Mac too, they only have one thing. They just they have their OS.
But there's different
right
levels.
now.
Whereas like Ubuntu is currently on 14.10. I think they just came out with that. But then there's like 14.04, 13.10, 13.04, 12. And obviously you want the newest one.
Yeah.
But so when you're making a game for Linux, usually like what Steam is doing, they make it for Ubuntu.
Yeah.
And then they say, if you can run it, great.
If you can't, sorry.
Figure it out on your own. Like, honestly, I know one person who uses Arch and games pretty heavily.
Yeah.
And they have never had a problem. Because whenever there's a library that they don't have, they just, hey, I got it. But then again, they're very, very smart.
Yeah. The
So,
average gamer
person
may not have any idea how to do that stuff.
However, like the Steam OS is based off Ubuntu.
Yeah.
So, you know, like if you want to be a gamer, Ubuntu would be the way to go. And honestly, Ubuntu is the kind of operating system where I installed it on Amy's grandma's computer. And she gets it. It's super easy. You never have to open a terminal. You can be terrified of terminals, and you'll be super A-okay.
Yeah.
You know? So there's plenty of GUI software there. The one issue with Ubuntu is right now... I'm sorry, I'll stop pretty soon. But the one issue with Ubuntu right now, and then I'm going to be done talking about it, is that they are currently putting a lot of effort into their mobile device. So the desktop has been kind of neglected for a while. I mean, it's not neglected to the point where it's like, oh, it's not stable anymore. It's secure, it's stable, it's fine. It's just, it looks the same. Like, 14.10 looks pretty much the exact same as 14.04. Yeah. There wasn't really any big updates. But so this release, they were going to do that. But then this next release, I guess we're going to get hit with a ton of bricks because it's going to be a big update. Okay. So we'll see what happens. Yeah. But yeah, one last thing.
Oh boy.
If you want to start using Linux, try Ubuntu first.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm done.
That's your feet in the water kind of thing.
Yep.
I will ask, what is the difference between Mint and Ubuntu?
Oh boy. Okay.
Generalize it. Put it in like 2 sentences.
So Mint. Okay, Ubuntu isn't
that more like the general like?
Well, Ubuntu is based off of Debian.
Okay, I don't know what that means. So let's go with
Debian. Okay, let's start.
Okay, never mind.
No. Okay, so Debian is a distribution. Okay, and Debian themselves, that team, found all the packages they needed, gathered everything together, and made a distribution. Then Ubuntu took the Debian distribution. And then they added more stuff to it, got rid of some things, put in their own stuff, and then that makes Ubuntu. Okay? Mint takes Ubuntu, takes some things out, adds what they want. Oh. That's the distribution.
Okay.
So Mint is, they took a lot of crud out that Ubuntu put in, and Ubuntu kind of makes this all-around, everything will work right away kind of thing. You know, you plug in a printer, even if it's a million years old, you're going to be able to print that day. Okay. Mint, you're going to have to do some configuring and stuff. So, like, Mint is kind of the next step in advance. Like, you should know a little bit more about your computer before you jump into Mint. But it's still pretty easy town. Okay. Then you might want to jump to Fedora, which is a little more advanced, but it's still pretty easy. And then you might feel comfortable jumping into Arch, which is like, holy shit, I'm loading into a terminal, and that's all I have right now. Yeah. And then you have to install everything yourself in order to get your desktop environment. So that is the difference between...
Okay. I got you.
Yep.
So, what now? We have computered. We have music.
Well, I can keep talking about Linux.
Yeah, that's
you want
okay.
Me to.
That's okay. God, I miss Varric. Yeah, I'm Paul. I like Linux. I like Linux. He pretty much had you spot.
Yeah, he
down.
Did.
So,
boy, we hit a dead spot. I don't think we've ever done that before in a podcast.
No, we usually just can keep riffing forever.
Yeah, I don't know what.
We just need a topic.
ISIS. Oh my gosh.
I know almost nothing about ISIS.
So did you hear about Coruscant? I think
Coruscant. Yeah, that's a Star Wars planet.
No. But Coruscant was this supposed terrorist group, right? That was planning on attacking the United States relatively soon, and we did airstrikes against them.
Okay.
They're totally made up. Don't exist at all.
So who did we airstrike?
No one. I don't know. Maybe Obama decided to airstrike a KFC there, and he was like, "Whoops, that was Coruscant." Whatever. Because they don't exist at all. And Rachel Maddow, who's just flaming liberal, right? Have you heard of Rachel Maddow?
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, she's MSNBC. It's kind of their response to Fox News.
Yeah.
Fair and balanced. Anyway, so she went off on the president and was basically like, why the hell were we sold a big bag of lies? Because it's what it was. You know, we were told about this super evil, this super evil terrorist group, and they were just like plugged for a week, and then they disappeared because it was like, oh yeah, by the way, they don't exist.
That wasn't real. Sorry.
Yeah, and it was just kind of weird because it was like, what was the point?
I heard that people were fucking throwing shit around like ISIS is actually Obama, and and it's like, oh, okay, so there's this drivel coming out of the internet now.
Well, no, like the thing is, ISIS probably was a creation of the United States government indirectly, because we went into Iraq even though we shouldn't have. We created a giant bubble of leadership. Like, we went in there, we put in our government, and it was shitty immediately.
Yeah.
We force-fed them a government that the people themselves didn't put together, so of course it's not going to be good. And then they collapsed because there's this big bubble, and then of course a bunch of groups are going to come in and claim that they actually own the place.
Yeah.
And, oh, by the way, we gave a shit ton of guns to pretty much everybody who we decided to call, you know, like a moderate force.
Uh-huh.
And then they're like, we need money, let's sell this. So then, you know, all the guns and ammunition that we gave to whoever is immediately sold to somebody else. So they're probably using our guns. They're using, you know, the bubble that we created in order to gain power. And it's totally 100% a fuck up to the United States that ISIS even exists today.
Yeah.
And honestly, I can't be all that mad at President Obama for that, because everybody wanted to get out of Iraq.
Yeah.
I wanted to get out of Iraq. I remember being like, good, we're getting out of Iraq. Did we really think about what was going to happen when we left Iraq? Were they ready? No. Of course they weren't ready. Look what happened. They immediately put down their guns. ISIS came through, and they're like, oh, come on. So I mean, we went in there to set up a government so that we could have friends in the Middle East so that we could continue getting oil. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And we were sold a bunch of lies to begin with, because President Bush was like, oh, weapons of mass destruction. There was nothing. And then, you know, it's dumb. It's absolutely stupid. We should have never been there. We should have left it alone. Why do we care what happens there? Well, because of oil. But, I mean, it's so, why? And honestly...
Wait, one more time. There
Why?
we go. There you go.
So what do you have to say? Because then I have another topic that I really want to get into with you.
Oh, God.
Which kind of is on the same thread.
I don't really know much about what's going on. I've been kind of avoiding it like the plague.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, I don't know.
You're just sick of people getting killed in
I'm
the Middle
just kind of
East?
tired of, like, and the thing is that I feel like I fall into that same category of people that are okay with being ignorant about it.
Yeah.
Which makes me a little sad and a little don't care.
Yeah.
So, like, I want to give a shit more, but at the same time, God, I got so much of my own shit to worry about. Like, all right,
Yeah.
well, what did you want to jump into that's...
Okay. What is your stance
Oh, boy.
on nuclear power?
On nuclear power.
Nuclear power, give it to me.
Great. Nuclear power is great. I love power that's from nuclears.
Okay. Is that your stance?
I guess, are you asking me my stance on how, if other people should have it?
No.
Or
okay.
if we
what
should
is
be
what
using
is your what is your stance on America using nuclear power for all of its power?
Oh, that's a great idea.
You think so? Huh?
Oh, yeah.
You do?
Well, I think we should, it should be that and fucking then using, like, the green powers, like solar and wind and stuff.
Oh, that's what you think, huh?
Yeah, that is actually...
I totally agree with you.
Yay!
No,
I don't have to put you in my trunk.
No, because a lot of people are afraid of nuclear power because it's radioactivity.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are afraid of the amount of crap that's created because of it.
Yeah.
Right now, what's going on? Because they made this this big bunker underground in like Nevada, and they were planning on burying all of the nuclear waste there for 10,000 years. Which, first of all, who are we kidding? We're probably not going to be here in 10,000 years.
The world will be over before that.
But that's such a no. We don't want to do that because newer reactors. So right now, what we're using is a third generation reactor. A third generation reactor is usually it's cooled by water, which means that there's water in direct contact with the nuclear material.
Okay.
And that water becomes irradiated because of that.
All right.
However, that water is cooled by water that never comes in contact with nuclear whatever.
Yeah.
And that's the water that you see in the cooling towers, you know?
Yeah.
So that water is put in the cooling tower so that it can cool down, and then it can be used to cool down the water that's going around the reactor.
All right.
But that type of reactor, the third generation reactor, it creates a byproduct that has a lifespan of 10,000 years before it becomes
Safe.
before it's at a point where you could lick it. So like, so honestly, like it'll still be radioactive, but it'll only be as radioactive as the background radioactive material that we're getting hit with constantly from space.
Yeah.
Okay. So that still has a lot of energy in it.
Yeah.
If it can be that radioactive for 10,000 years. Fourth generation reactors are actually called rebreeders because they take that waste product and then they enrich it again, and then it can be used again inside of a reactor. So they literally can take their waste from yesterday and then recycle it. When they're done, where they can't make it go into a reactor anymore,
Yeah.
it has a lifespan of 800 years
Oh wow, that's way different.
before you can lick it.
Before you can lick it. I like how that's our standard. It's like before you can put it in your mouth like a 3-year-old.
And that's with today's technology. So with today's technology, we can make waste, that's only 800 years of life.
Yeah.
But when you think about that was in the span of 60 years that we figured out how to do this.
Yeah.
In another 60 years, we might be able to get that down to like 10 years.
Maybe.
We might be able to get that down to lick it as soon as it's out of the reactor. Like using it doesn't make sense to not use it.
Yeah.
On top of that, in the 80s, Fukushima. Okay, let's go there. Fukushima melted down, technically. The reason it melted down is because it was made in the 60s, and the safety standards that are in place now would have never allowed that to happen.
Yeah.
Safety standards in nuclear power plants that are made today, if you shut off, let's say you shut off the water, the pumps turn off, so that water that cools it, that's radioactive, isn't spinning anymore.
Okay.
You drain all of the water out of your cooling tanks. It's just sitting there, getting hotter and hotter and hotter.
Yeah.
Okay, that's bad.
That's very bad.
They have safety standards in place that are totally mechanical. No computer intervention, nothing at all. The reactor itself is sitting there with nothing talking to it, nothing doing anything to it. They have it set up mechanically so that the heat will automatically lower the cooling rods into the core, stopping it from ever being able to melt down. Ever.
So it's just a mechanical thing.
Yes.
So no computers or nothing.
Nothing.
There's just a thing that it can detect when it hits X temperature.
Yep.
And automatically triggers.
Yep.
Just with gears and knobs.
Yep.
That's it.
And then the thing too, there's no physical damage done to the core itself. As soon as they regain control of the pumps and everything else, they can just turn it back on, take the cores out, everything's fine. And Like, that's the technology that exists today.
Yeah.
And we're not using it because people are afraid.
Yeah.
And okay, let's look at Chernobyl, one of the biggest disasters ever.
Yeah.
Chernobyl has kind of turned into, like, the long-term ramifications of Chernobyl are not nearly as bad as what people thought they were going to be.
Yeah.
The wildlife has shot way up in Chernobyl. And actually, I don't think, okay, this was according to a documentary that I watched, but there was zero, like, you know, have you ever seen those babies that are born with, like, weird heads and they're like,
Yeah.
Chernobyl? None of that actually happened.
Yeah.
They say that something like throughout Chernobyl, I think it was like 300 people died or something. And that might not even be right. I shouldn't be saying any of this because I can't actually verify any of it. But it, in short, it wasn't as bad as what we made it seem like, because America made it seem bad because it was the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
And we wanted to be like, ha! Fuck you! And
That was our goal.
yeah, and so, you know, it was overhyped and it was overdone. And honestly, that reactor was in a shed. There wasn't a containment field around it like there has to be on, like the one in Monticello, for instance. Mm-hmm. There, I think it's 16 feet thick of concrete. They figured out, they made it big enough so that a Boeing 747 could crash into it without reaching the reactor.
Wow.
That's how yeah. If that thing melted down, like, shit hit the fan and that fucker melted down, it would not escape the containment field.
Yeah.
It would stay within there. There would be a lot of cleanup.
Yeah.
There would probably be some radioactive material that leaks out.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be anywhere near as bad as Chernobyl.
Yeah. Yeah. It would be much different.
Exactly. And on top of that, I don't know when that was created, but I'm sure that probably has the fail-safes in it where if everything shut down, it could shut itself off. Mm-hmm. On top of that, now when we go into, like, clean, so solar and wind, let's look at those. It's not always sunny, and it's not always windy. And do you know what those use when they can't make electricity? Gas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gas.
Yeah. Also, the creation of solar panels is a very toxic,
Yeah.
and has actually killed more people than nuclear power ever has. Windmills kill thousands of birds every year because birds run into them or get hit by the blades.
Yeah.
Nuclear, especially nuclear power now, like, nuclear power in the 50s and 60s was high capacity, big plants with a really big reactor. Nuclear power plants now are multiple small reactors, all kind of clustered together.
Like a processor in a computer.
Sure, yeah. And so, you know, on a hot day, I mean, you might not be running one of your, but then on a hot day, turn on reactor 4, you know, because we need it today.
Yeah.
You wouldn't need peaking plants anymore, which burn. Peaking plant. So what a peaking plant is, let's say it's really, really hot, and everyone's got their AC on. Peaking plant burns natural gas, mostly natural gas, in order to make a little bit more electricity so that they can meet those demands.
Yeah.
And so, like, things like that, which are polluting our environment heavily, would no longer be needed. And right now, so when France, almost all of its power was coming from oil.
Yeah.
Then oil started going way up, and they were like, okay, we can no longer sustain burning oil to make electricity.
Yeah.
So they did, like, a hard push for nuclear power. They're currently at, I think 80% of their power is coming from nuclear, whereas 20% of ours is coming from nuclear.
Yeah.
And their carbon footprint per year per person is somewhere around 4 tons, whereas the carbon footprint for somebody in Germany is around 10.
Ugh.
And the reason being, Germany is in the process of shutting all of its nuclear power plants down because people are afraid of them.
Oh, God.
To the point where they don't have enough electricity that they're buying it from France. Because France has so much power that they've started they're like the hub of electricity.
Sell it to everyone else.
Yeah, no, they're the hub of electricity
God.
in Europe now. And it's like, okay, we could reduce our CO2 emissions drastically if we switched to nuclear power and people got the fuck over it.
Yeah.
Because honestly, environmentalists who think that nuclear power is bad, it's like a vegan who's like, eating kale is bad. Fuck off. No, like nuclear power is really the only feasible option we have for clean energy at this point. Granted, fission is around the corner, and right now in France they're building a experimental fission reactor.
Yeah.
Wow, that's insane.
Like we're actually there.
Yeah, no. Like they've created small scale fission reactors in labs, but just like super small scale and for a very minute amount of time.
Yeah.
And they're gonna make like an actual reactor. They're making it right now in France, an actual fucking fission reactor that they're hoping
insane.
will be the future of, and that will be the future. But we don't have 60 years to wait because in 60 years our planet is going to be kind of close to fucked if we don't do something.
Yeah. I wish, because I think we definitely need to stop being afraid of something people are terrified without even looking into it themselves.
No, they don't at all.
Like, they don't do any research on their end and, like, actually get, like, facts. They just know, like, hearsay and what, like, media has told them.
Yeah, and honestly, like, on top of that, the whole sieverts thing. Oh, that's 0.79 sieverts. What the hell does that mean?
What the fuck's a sievert?
It's a radioactive measurement.
Okay.
Nobody knows what that means.
No.
And like the news sometimes will pick something like lower than a sievert, so that it's a bigger number, so they can scare the public.
They say
but then
it's
later,
20 million rads, which is
Yeah.
like 3 sieverts or
right?
something.
Yeah, and it's like during Fukushima, they parts of towns that they evacuated had lower radiation levels than a beach in Brazil, which it's like a black sand beach,
Yeah.
and it's like kind of known for, it's like, oh, it's healing, and it's radioactive.
Yeah.
Like it, and you know what? The people in that area don't have an increased chance of cancer.
Yeah.
Don't have. I mean, like people are afraid of any type of radiation because you can't see it, you can't smell it, you can't feel it.
You know what's scaring people is the fucking wave that the new iOS 8 has come out with. That you can take your iPhone with that operating system on it and you can charge it in the microwave, and that's what's scaring people. I cannot believe how many people have fucking done that.
Yeah.
Like,
And the underwater update.
Oh, God.
You ever hear about that one?
that one makes
There
even
was
less sense.
so many videos
God.
of people taking this one guy had his iPad and he's swimming underwater with it and he's like, "Hey, honey," and takes a picture and it's like,
You just ruined your iPad.
"Oh my God, you're an idiot." No, it still worked. And it's like, well, because they're water resistant.
Yeah.
But you do that 2 more times, you're not gonna have iPad anymore.
Like, they're actually released a Samsung Galaxy phone that is water. Like, they're claiming it's waterproof up to a meter, like,
wow.
for hours. Like, it'll be fine.
Oh yeah. And
So any kind of, and then so casual use, like, not like consistent or anything, and it's waterproof, and it's just like, wow, that's like impressive. Like that's amazing. And I don't really know what you would use that for particularly. Like why do you need to do a lot of underwater photography or texting underwater? But I did see this one guy did a test where he took his phone, he stuck it in his jeans pocket and threw it in the washer. Came out perfect.
Wow.
Nothing wrong with it.
That's pretty cool.
So I was like, well, not only did it take getting banged around a washer just fine, but it also was, I mean, think about the water in a washer. You just crank it up to hot and stuff and no problem at all.
Well, and there's all sorts of chemicals and, laundry detergent is pretty hard on stuff.
I don't think he put detergent in.
Oh,
but either way, back to the energy stuff. I will say, like, I think, the nuclear stuff needs that push because
for sure.
everyone's fucking terrified of it. And that alone could change the way we think about the way we interact with other countries on the planet. Like maybe we'll leave Iraq the fuck alone because we don't need oil anymore.
Well, yeah.
Like kind of stuff.
If we wouldn't care anymore. And I mean, honestly, then too, everything, because nuclear is the closest thing we have to an unlimited power source.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so right now, another thing about nuclear, we started this program quite a few years back after the collapse of the Soviet Union. We didn't want all their nuclear warheads falling into the hands of people who shouldn't have nuclear warheads.
Yeah.
So we started buying them up and using them to make nuclear power. We have done more with nuclear power to help ensure that war does not happen than nuclear. Like we're getting rid of nuclear warheads because the bombs that were created to destroy our cities are now being used to light them. How fucking cool is that? And then on top of that, a lot more nuclear. So the enriching process that's used to make nuclear power, fuel for nuclear power, doesn't go to the point where you could make a bomb out of it. Okay. The only problem is that if you continued that cycle and continued enriching, you could make a bomb out of it.
Yeah.
So the whole idea that like, okay, you could get this and you can make a nuclear bomb if you wanted to. Currently, yes. However, there is a material called thorium, something. Anyway, and it can only be enriched to a point where it can be used in a nuclear reactor, but it can't be used to make a bomb.
Like it gets to a point where it just can't be enriched anymore.
Well, it just can't be enriched anymore. And that is what we're going after we use up all the nuclear bombs.
Yeah.
Because we're going to start using up our own nuclear bombs too. Mm-hmm. Because we don't need them.
The thing is that I don't think that'll ever happen where we don't have any.
Oh, we'll still have like 1,000.
Yeah, I think we'll.
But we won't
like
have
1,000. That's small though.
We'll have enough to blow up the world 5 times.
Yeah.
But not 25.
50. Come on.
But I mean, in the far future, when we use up all that extra fuel that we have, and we get that fuel down to a point where, honestly, it's going to take a long time to use up the amount of fuel that we have.
Yeah.
But after we do use that up, and we have all of this fuel, or we're done with that fuel,
then we can jump to this other element and start.
And like countries that we don't trust,
give them loads of it.
Iran.
They can't make bombs out of it.
Iran, the Middle East, countries that we don't want to have nuclear bombs, we could just tell them to use this, and then when countries are like, no, we're enriching uranium so that we can make nuclear power, because that's what we want to do.
Nuclear power / power for my
like
bombs.
Iran, which Iran has been doing
power
for a
my
while.
bombs.
Which, honestly, in my opinion, and I might get some flack for this, but Iran with nuclear warheads, I don't think that's a big deal. The only reason it is a big deal is because if America wants to attack Iran,
they can attack back.
They can attack back, yeah. Then they have nuclear power. They have nuclear arms, and all of a sudden, like, having a nuclear bomb in our age is basically a ticket saying you can't fight me anymore.
Yeah.
That's why we're in countries where they don't have nuclear bombs, is because they can't bomb us.
Yeah.
They have, but Iran.
That's why we're trying to meddle so much with the countries that can.
Exactly.
It's because we don't want them to.
Exactly. Well, not until we trust their government. Then we'll give them some nuclear bombs, and then just give them some bombs.
Let's take a quick break, and then I want to jump into solar roads.
Solar roads?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we're back. Okay, so solar roads. Have you heard of these solar roads?
Is it a solar panel that's on a road so that roads would be making power?
Yes.
No.
We're done. Okay. See you guys later next week. No. It was kickstarted. This guy in I don't even know where he's from. Probably another country. But he came and he developed this. I think it's like a hexagonal or like an octagonal. Just basically, it's a solar panel. But he built it to be able to be basically a road, like to withstand semis driving on it and stuff. So it's this really super thick thing. And then it is basically just a big honking solar panel. And what he wants to do is he wants to build roads out of these things. He wants to build driveways out of these things. He wants every single thing that's paved to be these solar roads because they bring in power. You can set them to be heated in a way so that you don't have to worry about ice on the roads.
Oh, wow.
You don't have to worry about shoveling your driveway if your driveway's made of them because the snow will never stay. They have lights on them that are programmable, so you don't have to paint the roads because you can just put in the code and it'll set the stuff to have the white lines down the middle and a red line when you need it and a turn lane when you need it and everything. So it's like this, and since they're basically, I mean, it's probably like, God, maybe 2 feet wide kind of thing. Like it's a small panel and then you just use a lot of them.
Yeah.
So if one panel goes down, it doesn't fuck up the whole road. You just have someone comes in, fixes the panel or replaces it. Road's fine. Another thing is that since the panels, they're not going to be like glued together, like they're set together and
so
stuff.
They're really modular.
So they're very modular. So if you are in an uneven place, you live like in a swampier area or something, and the ground shifts a lot, like when it's winter, summer, and everything.
Yeah.
This panels will shift with it, and you won't have to make those
Holy
repairs.
hell.
So no potholes, no shit like that.
Okay, this all sounds amazing. If it wasn't gonna be super fucking expensive.
So he got a Kickstarter to go through, so he could develop like a prototype, and then he actually is working with the government to kind of, because he actually made like a kind of a driveway's worth of stuff, so for testing and all that stuff. So he's working with the government now to try and figure out how can we do this so that it's like fiscally responsible kind of thing, because
Possible, yeah.
it is really expensive to start doing this. So they're going to have to start really small. Maybe do like a small town or like a section of a town.
Sections of roads.
Or start with people's driveways, things like that. And at the same time, all these great benefits these have, on top of it, you can power your fucking house with it. Like at my parents' place, if we just swapped out the driveway with like just solar panels, that kind of stuff, that'd be all the power we need. Because
would it be enough though?
I would think so.
But only
my parents have a big driveway. So
yeah,
I mean, but like
also I wonder, I hate to be, but like I wonder how damaging to the environment creating one of those things would be.
Well, the thing is, I would think it's just as damaging as creating the normal solar panels. I wouldn't think it'd be any worse. So yeah, you do have to look at the fact. But the thing is, once they're made, like that's it. The negative impact to the environment has been made and it's done.
Yeah.
So it doesn't continue to cause problems.
But
like,
as you continue to make them, it continues to
yeah,
cause
but the
problems.
thing is, you get to a point where you don't need to make them anymore because you've made all of them.
Yeah, but they'll break.
Yeah, you'll have to keep making them consistently, but they'll break, I mean, just as often as a regular solar panel will break kind of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more because there's cars driving on it all the time. But
I don't know.
I think about how much money you'll save. I mean, because think of tar isn't exactly good for the environment.
Oh, no.
Like that kind of stuff. So I feel like that alone would offset that, you know? And
yeah.
I mean...
You know, and sometimes I wonder if some of the heating that's happening in the world is just because we're putting black tar on the earth all over the place.
Probably. Like, it's ridiculous. So, I mean, I think... God, I just think about how beneficial it would be, because you'd avoid... I mean, we're in Minnesota. You know, if you had, like... Even just, like, take the cities, you know, Minneapolis, St. Paul, that area. Replace all the roads with these solar roads. You'd never have to worry about... You wouldn't have to have dozens and dozens of plows out at 5 a.m.
Right, yeah.
Like, every single morning to plow out all this stuff, because the road would be constantly kept at, like, this temperature or whatever, and the stuff would just melt off when it hits.
Another issue, though, is that you would have to keep the ground heated for... Because, like, let's say you get a big snowstorm. You would need to heat the ground all the way along for the water to get out.
Yeah.
And then you'd have, like, ice on the sides of the roads.
Yeah.
But you'd have to heat that water all the way out, like to its exit point, wherever the hell that's gonna be.
No, because you'd have
well,
like,
actually,
there'd be issues with, like, you know, flooding in certain areas.
Well, and really you would have to heat until you got like once you're underground, like once you get it to go underground, then you wouldn't have to heat it anymore because
Yeah.
the earth would be warm enough. But
I feel like a project like this, like if we could actually get the government behind it, and because the thing is that we're dealing with a guy, it's expensive as balls for this one guy to go ahead and make these things. But then you deal with the government, which can get grants for this, this, and this. They can get deals for this, this, and this. They can work through different companies, kind of thing. They can get things built on a massive scale for a much lower cost, kind of thing. So if the government comes in and says, "Oh yeah, we want to build 500,000 solar road panels,"
Sure.
you know, kind of thing. They can do it for a lot less cost-wise, kind of thing. Like, yeah, this could be like a $5 billion project, kind of thing. But like, holy shit! Like, think about how much money like people are gonna save on electricity. Like, I mean, you'd probably still have like, I mean, my Excel bill will go from like $90 to maybe down to like 40. You know,
Right.
like you'd still have to rely on what's there now.
You would kind of be paying for electricity by paying your taxes because the roads are paid for in taxes.
Yeah.
So then they might as well just. The only problem is that the electricity companies are not gonna like this.
No, I don't think they'd be too keen on the idea, but
No.
I think for fucking the planet's sake, like you take fucking solar roads, you take the nuclear reactor stuff we've been talking about, and like you combo those up, and like God, things would run so much smoother. Like, but the
Well, the
oil
thing, too-
companies would have less money, the power companies would have less money.
Like coal power.
Like, yeah, like, so you'd have to deal with the fact that, you know, the government is actually the ones that are ending up with not necessarily more money in their pocket, but they're ending up with the stakes like they have because they own like the solar panels on that and like that's theirs. So like they basically have all of the money or income that has to do with a lot of the power now, you know? So
And the thing too is like we need solutions like this because as we continue, more and more countries are becoming developed countries.
Yeah.
And that means that their power demands, like China's power demands, for instance, are drastically increasing.
Yeah.
Which then also means that we're either going to continue to destroy our environment with coal, oil, and natural gas power, or we're going to find a good solution. And right now, the good solution is nuclear. And, you know, these solar panels, they don't sound too bad.
I just think like fucking technology's put us at a place where we can do something about this stuff now. Like it's not something like, God, 10 years down the road, we might be able to like, no, fuck that. We're there.
Yeah.
Let's fucking do it.
Yeah. No, and we
But-
are. And honestly, like, fuck you to the people holding back nuclear. Honestly, because yeah, it's scary. Yeah, cancer sucks. Yeah, cancer is the biggest, scariest thing that developed countries worry about.
Yeah.
Like the developed countries' civilians worry about. And that sucks. And we got to work on a way to fix that too, but we can't stop ourselves from fixing a problem because we're afraid of something that there's a minute chance of it happening.
But it's kind of like, I feel like it's the same thing. We had discussed this before. How like you had seen something where like someone had taken like a very small amount of acid or something and it like helped like alleviate a headache or something, but that would never ever be something that would actually go through like any kind of FDA regulations and stuff
Right.
and pass because of the way people perceive it.
Yeah, because people are afraid.
What they need is a really good marketing team to come up and rebrand LSD.
Well, and nuclear power.
And nuclear power. That's what we need. We need to go to all the ad agencies in the area and just start rebranding nuclear waste and stuff.
See, the thing, though, is that whenever nuclear power tries to come out and say that they're clean, environmentalists come out in just truckloads
In just robes and
bitch. And honestly, for environmentalists, just stop and actually think about... Because, like, wind, solar...
I think
The-
every
the-
kind of
those
thing
things-
has its negatives. It has
Yeah.
its cons.
No, but wind and solar is great, but it's just not feasible for us to get the amount of electricity
Yeah.
we need out of it.
You-
Because they're not a reliable, continuous source of
No,
power.
they're not.
And when we don't have an infrastructure, like our power line infrastructure that's in place right now, most of it was built in the 50s.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have the networking that we need to track power created from a giant solar farm in Nevada to Minnesota.
No,
we don't have that in place right now. And what we need is small. What we have built right now is a small community setup where it's like this power plant is going to get these people power, and then we're going to hook up to that place over there so that we can sell power to them when they need it, and then they can sell power to us when we need it. And that's what we have in place right now. And
our primary power should come from nuclear, and then we should use wind, solar, hydroelectric, that kind of stuff to supplement that. Like, and the thing is that all of those, like, again, like, the whole goal in all of this is to just reduce the coal usage and the natural gas. Like, all of that. The idea is we want to get that down as low as possible.
But honestly, we don't need, like, in the end, what we should do, because we have the thorium, whatever. So what we need to do is, and this could never happen just because people are evil. But what would be fantastic is if there are very small nuclear reactors that are very clean. And what would be fantastic is if within each city, or like Foley, for instance, they just, in the middle of the town, then a nuclear reactor. That's where all their power came from. And then they powered some people. And then all of Foley, no power lines anywhere. It's all underground. You can't see it. And it's all just super small scale. And then every, like the reactor itself is like a freaking safe underground, essentially. And it's all, like, they have nuclear reactors right now that are no flow. Well, they're not called no flow. They're called, like, they might be called no flow systems.
Low flow.
but there's no pumps, there's no moving parts. It's just heat makes the liquid go in circles, and like, if it starts to get too hot, it'll automatically shut itself down.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. You take one of those, you put it in a freaking safe, you put it underground, you put a big seal over it so that nobody can get into it, and then every once in a while you just have, like, every 3 years a truck comes out with a whole new case, and you just put the new one in. And then power. Hey, everybody.
Look at all that power.
And then you have, like, a freaking diesel generator.
Yeah.
That just, like, or, you do it at, like, 5 at night. You do it at, like, 3 in the morning, and you say, hey, everybody, power's going to go off at 3 in the morning for, like, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Get ready.
Probably a little longer than 20 minutes.
Well, no, like, with what I'm thinking, like, with plans that I've heard, you just have a truck that's designed to replace a core.
Yeah.
So then you got a core here, and you got an empty spot on the other side, and then a little crane comes in and unplugs it, sets it down, grabs the next one,
They
plugs
just gotta
it
have
back in,
stores.
and bam,
They just need,
it's running.
If they have just, like, stores of power, though, like, the thing is, you can have, like, power, like, just, like, sitting in these generators and stuff. So, like, when you need to do the swap too, you just flip on the other generators and just have that overlap for, like, an hour.
Yeah, but creating a battery that's that large is damn near impossible.
No, you just do
and it's ridiculously expensive, because, like, right now,
maybe that's the one thing we'll use gas for, then. Is to just have
during that.
Well, again, too, we could use the solar and wind stuff for that little time there. It's just that little space to just.
Because,
oh God, power's out for an hour. Oh wait, it's not, because I have solar roads.
Because, like, right now, when a plant creates power, they create more power than what is needed, because they can't store the power.
Yeah.
So they create more than it's needed, and then they use like the little box up on top is just make sure that you have the amount of power that you need.
Yeah.
But everybody's pulling out, and you want to make sure that in the end, some of it is going into a ground and coming back to you.
Uh-huh.
And that's how they don't store power. They don't have extra just sitting around in batteries and stuff, because you can't make a battery that has that much electricity in it. Yeah. It's not feasible to do that. And maybe on a smaller scale where you're just powering fully, maybe they could figure out a way to be like, yeah, hey, we got this drain pack over here.
Yeah.
And it's just a giant capacitor that just kind of bleeds out for 20 minutes before it dies.
I just wish, like, it would be awesome to see, like, some smaller countries take on these things, and, like,
well, France did it, and France is a relatively small country.
it'd be nice to see, like, yeah, you have, like, France do it, and then they run everything underground and stuff. You start innovating with the solar panels and everything. So
the one problem, however, with running things underground is that get the attention that they need as far
Yeah.
as upkeep goes. Like when something is falling apart on like a wire in the air, a bunch of people are going to see it and call.
Yeah.
When something's falling apart underneath ground, you're not going to know until it breaks.
And you might not even be able to find where it is at first either. So you
Yeah.
might have to dig up a ton of
Right.
stuff.
So it's prettier,
Yeah.
for sure. It's less of a nuisance, but as soon as it becomes a problem, that's when it's a gigantic nuisance.
Yeah.
'Cause like right now, the plumbing in America, like in big cities, is very much in a bad state.
Yeah.
It never gets updated because nobody ever looks at it. So like water coming in and all that stuff, there's probably, $100 billion worth of improvements that need to be done, and they're just never done because you can't see it.
Yeah. Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. And right now, I've heard some people say that the biggest issue in America right now is our utilities.
Yeah.
Like the network to get utilities to you is it's built on stuff that was built in the 50s.
Yeah.
And it needs to be updated.
I
very
thought the
badly.
biggest issue in America was the NFL players beating people up.
Well, that is also an issue.
But apparently it's the utilities.
And actually, climate change is definitely our biggest issue. For people out there who say that climate change, because climate change has been proven to exist.
Yeah.
We are warming as the global scale. We're
The
warming.
planet naturally cools and warms over time.
Sure.
Like, that's part of it too, which I think a lot of people don't. Like, there's a lot of people who sit there and piss and moan about, like, all this stuff and how we're ruining the planet. And there are things that we're doing that are ruining the planet. Like, I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but a lot of people don't even think about the fact that, you remember that whole Ice Age thing? Like, that had nothing to do with us. We weren't around when that happened. Like, the planet does naturally heat itself and cool itself. It's cycled that many times.
However, many scientists have stated, and I trust them more than myself, that CO2 levels are increasing.
Yeah.
We create a lot of CO2, and there's a direct correlation of CO2 levels increasing and the planet warming. And there's also done math to see how much we're outputting and how much is in the environment, and they relate to each other. So it's not like there's just random CO2 finding its way into, it's coming from somewhere.
Well, yeah.
And it's coming from us.
No, like CO2 doesn't just materialize. Like, it's on us. Like there's a reason those levels are going up.
Right.
That's because of
Matter
us.
cannot be created or destroyed. Come on, Victor.
I
Come
know
on.
how it works. Jesus Christ. So, I mean, yeah, I hate the people that come out and they just sit and whine and then, like, they don't do any research into it and stuff. Like, again, just read a fucking book. Google. Like,
Yeah.
at least. Like,
Yeah.
do something,
But okay, but as my point before, even if you don't believe that human beings are causing the planet to warm up, human beings are definitely causing the planet to be a shittier place. Like,
Yeah.
if you live in New Mexico City, it's the equivalent of smoking 2 packs a day
Ugh,
of cigarettes.
that sounds not nice.
Like, that's how polluted the air is there. And the air is polluted because of cars and electricity.
Well, we happen to live in a place in the country where we, are fortunate to have fairly clean air.
Oh, yeah.
Where you have places out in...
Even in St. Cloud, even in Minneapolis, the air is very
it's
clear.
not nearly as bad as, like, you look at places in Nevada and Arizona
Yeah.
or something where it is standard building code on houses there to have air filtration
Yeah.
in every home.
Yeah.
Like, that is, like, state law there because it's so bad.
Right.
Which is almost, like, mind-boggling to think about.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how bad it is there. And, like, really? So we're going to change our building codes in our houses instead of fixing the problem?
Right.
Like, I feel like you guys are doing this backwards.
And that's why, again, nuclear power.
Yeah.
That's the way to go.
Let's do that.
So now, when you guys make fun of me when I'm not here, it can be, I'm Paul, I like Linux and nuclear power.
That's a great idea. I think we'll do that.
Yeah. But I honestly, from our listeners here, if you made it to this point,
All 10 of you.
congratulations. Oh, hi, John. Anyway.
Johnny!
You should comment and let us know what your current beliefs on nuclear power are. Also, we probably said things that are incorrect, and if you want to look stuff up and correct us on that.
He could be our official
Please
fact
do.
checker.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't
Since we
saying
don't fact
just,
check.
I wasn't saying just John.
Oh, I think it should be just John.
But at this point, it's probably just John. Like, I don't think anybody else makes it this far into the podcast, except John.
Maybe.
Hi, John.
What up?
How's it going?
Good? I hope so.
That's good.
Yeah.
What's new? Oh. So do you have the herp then? That's too bad. Well,
now John's never going to want to be on the podcast because we just gave him herpes. Like, we just willed it onto him.
hey, I used a code word. You actually said it.
You said herp.
Yeah.
What do you think herp means?
Harp.
Harp?
Yeah.
Like a beautiful
misspoke.
harp?
I misspoke.
Oh, you missed. Okay.
Yeah, and he said he didn't have it.
He didn't have a
He didn't have a harp anymore. And I
Harpies?
said, well, that's too bad. Not harpies, a harp. Get
Harpies
it
feather
fucking
duster.
right.
Woo.
How much time are we in now?
Oh, we're at we're at about an hour and 50 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Which is actually about the length of a normal podcast.
That is kind of...
Honestly, because like our longest one is at 1:45, so we're a little over that.
Well, so we're releasing this one tomorrow? Today?
I'm going to get it out today because we were supposed to have one out yesterday.
Okay.
So
Well, do you want to...
this will be the most up-to-date podcast yet.
Yes, it will.
Because this will be out the day we did
Are
it.
you willing to just continue the do one and then get it out right away, or would you rather have a whole week to...
I don't need a whole week. It means that we have to, we have to actually consistently do it this way, though.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know, and then 2 we could always throw a double one in somewhere,
We just have to actually set aside enough time because we
Right.
didn't do that this time.
No, we didn't.
So,
But that's all right. But anyway, I don't know, what other topics do you want to talk about?
and we got like 5-10 minutes. Get hit on something.
Dicks?
Penis.
Let's talk about dicks.
Vaginas.
All right.
Let's not talk about that.
All right, fine.
So
Welcome to the Dick and Vagina Podcast.
if for those of you who listened this long, now we're gonna get into the X-rated portion of the podcast.
X-Men.
Enjoy.
Um,
We could talk about our music project at more detail
yeah.
since we never have.
well, it's kind of been on slight hiatus.
A little. We started messing around with it a little more today.
A little bit, yeah.
We're kind of working on, because we've both been in bands for short periods of time, longer periods of time. So we're both musicians, and we enjoy the musics.
We are musically inclined.
So we decided that we would, just have a little fun project. So we have been working on, it's basically a rock opera. So we're
It kind of is, yeah.
It's a rock opera is what it is. It tells a story over the course of like 5 songs. I'm not going to divulge the story.
Why not?
Because that'll be the big, maybe we'll do that like a week before we're actually going to
Oh, well, we got to
it.
give a hint.
Tyranny? Could
Yes.
that be the hint?
Tyranny.
It has to do with tyranny. Tyrannical leaders and their injustice.
Yes.
It's not a metaphor for like Obama, so call me tits.
No, it has absolutely no political stance whatsoever. It's just telling a story.
It'll make you giggle.
In fact, my wife is the main character.
Is she really?
Well, she wanted to be.
That's a shame. We made her a horrible person. Wow. No, it's gonna be like 5 songs, and we've got 3 of them written. Like I said before, we were doing some recording this morning, doing some drums and things. So we've never actually done recording and editing ourselves before. So that's fun to learn how to do.
Yeah, and I have been not very helpful in that arena.
It's hard to be helpful
I'm sorry.
when we like. It's tricky. It's kind of like the same thing. Like, do you really want someone in there coding the same thing you're coding at the same time? Would you ever want that?
Well, yeah, if we're using the correct software, like if we're using Git and stuff. But I could go further into that. But there's when you're like, the thing is, if me and you were doing it, we'd be working on 2 separate things. you'd be working on one song and I'd be mixing another song.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing when you're developing code. You're not working on the exact same thing at the same time. You're working on two different sections of a site or of a program, and then you know the other sections of the program so that you can tie into those.
Yeah.
So.
Well, pick up the slack. Jesus Christ. I don't know.
Well, the thing is, so you're running Studio One, which is...
I'm running Studio One too.
Yeah, which is the software that we got along with the Audio Box USB recorder device so that we could plug professional speakers or professional mics into
a computer,
a
basically.
laptop. Yeah. And so you're running Studio One on Mac, and I was running... I actually wiped my computer since then, so I don't have it on there anymore, but I was running Ardour on Linux.
Yeah.
And they, it was interesting because when I pulled in your audio tracks, within, the headers of the audio files themselves, it must have actually specified where in the song they belonged.
Yeah.
Because they kind of matched up.
Yeah.
It was kind of in the right place sometimes. But there was just so much crap, and I didn't know which recordings were the good recordings.
We did the first two songs. We were just getting our feet wet and just starting. So I didn't really label shit properly.
Right.
So a lot of it was here is track 1-1. Here's track 1-2. Here's
Right.
track 1-3. And there's 200 of them, and and then here's track 2-1. Here's track 2-2.
Yep.
And you don't have any idea what's a guitar. 2-2.
2-2.
T. You have no idea what's guitar, what's drums, what's vocals. It's just all over the place.
Yeah, and it really was your duty to do that to begin with. I
Yeah,
just
it's
wanted
really
to say
my
duty.
fault
I
that
just
you gotta
really
say
wanted to say duty.
Duty. You got to say duty and tutu in the same podcast.
A duty tutu.
It's a fucking successful day. We're still learning, God, I've gotten decent at mixing instrumentals.
Yeah.
I've gotten pretty good at that at this point, but fucking vocals are hard.
Well, it'd help if I could sing.
It would help if I could sing too. Here's the problem, everyone. Neither of us can sing.
All right, should we try?
No.
Okay.
Let's not. If anyone wants to hear us sing, you have to wait for the opera, the rock opera, which we will have on stage as well.
Although
I'm writing choreography as we speak.
We could end it with a big scream.
No, we could not.
End the podcast.
It would just be. It would just clip so hard. I'd have to just turn it all the way down.
Just
it would
both back up quite a bit.
just both back and scream what? It's like I can touch you.
Duty.
It's like I can touch you.
No, we gotta scream duty.
Why would you? Just because you're 4?
Yeah.
Duty. For the record, Zeke laughs every time he hears the word "but." Every single time. God, you're gonna yell it, aren't you? He's backing up.
No. We should scream bunghole.
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 Didn't clip.
Yeah, I backed up enough.
Good job.
Oh man, that really went up though.
It definitely it picked up a little.
Did I tell you? Okay, so when I went to Milwaukee to a beer tour, and the guy was like, "All right, on 3, we're all gonna," because a bunghole is actually so in the side, old kegs had a hole in the side that they'd put a cork in, like a big cork. It's a hole about the size of your fist, and that hole was called a bunghole. So that's where the term came from.
Interesting terminology.
And so he's like, all right, on 3, everybody's going to scream bunghole as loud as they can. And I screamed it like that. And the guy immediately took, this chip out of his pocket, and he gave it to me. He's like, that'll get you a free drink. And I was like, woo!
That's what you get for being a good sport, damn it.
Because everyone was like, bunghole. And then I was like, bunghole! And I way outlasted everybody. And then everybody was looking at me. I was very drunk at the time because I was on a brewery tour.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and I had plenty of alcohol.
You mentioned you were in Milwaukee.
Yes.
Which reminded me of the fact that you went to Yellowstone with
Yes.
your family. Which reminded me of the fact that I am fucking tired of fake news sites. Because I have a lot of people who I'm friends with who are stupid and think they're real. Because someone put up on someone linked on Facebook or whatever, oh God, Yellowstone's exploding. We need to get out of there. And someone actually said something, she went onto Facebook and posted this thing saying oh God, to her brother, I think it was. It's you and Dad need to get out of there because it's blowing up. And he's like, yeah, because they wouldn't have said anything on the news. I would have needed to find out via Facebook. And of course I click on the link, go to the site. It's a fake site.
Well, yeah.
It's a satirical news site.
Well, one time somebody posted, this person was just super Republican, and they posted. No, it's not Matt.
Oh.
They posted Obama's getting impeached about fucking time, and then I looked at it and it was from the.
It's not The Onion, is it?
No, it wasn't The Onion. It was a competitor of The Onion. It was like the Karash or something stupid like that. And at the very bottom it said, this is a satirical website. And it was like, and then Amy, my wife, posted on there, no, it was our one listener, John. John posted on there, this is a satirical site.
Yeah.
None of this is true. Please delete this.
Yeah.
And she deleted his comment.
What?
She deleted his comment saying
Why?
that and she left up the original post that was fake. And it was just like, for real?
Shame.
How stupid. Like, okay, if somebody like came out and was like, hey, this is fake. And John wasn't mean about it.
Yeah.
He was very nice about it. He was just like, hey, this is fake. I just want you to know that you should probably delete this because it's not real.
Yeah.
Like, you should be ashamed of yourself. Here's why. And
You realize you're spreading lies.
yeah, and she's just like if that happened to me, I would be so like embarrassed. I'd just be like, oh my god, I'm a fucking idiot,
I had a friend who he posted a link to someone who, because there's this new thing that people are doing where if you're on like Twitch or something and you're gaming and you're streaming and stuff, people will like
SWAT you.
They'll SWAT you. They'll get your IP and shit, and they'll like call it a bomb threat at your place. And there was a story that someone did this to someone, and the kid's dad was home, and the kid's dad was killed by the SWAT team. And so someone like put a link to it and said like, this is getting out of hand. This is ridiculous. Like, this is a real problem. And
it was fake?
It was fake.
Yes.
So someone went on there and commented about it, and I went and looked at it, and I was like, oh, this is a fake thing. So I went and commented like, actually, this is a fake thing. Like, I'm sure this is a legitimate problem, but this specific story is not real.
Right.
And there was someone on there who like lost his shit, and he was just like, yeah, well, you need to look up your shit, and fucking this is bullshit that you're linking this fake ass shit. And it was just like, Goose Fraba. Like, calm your tits.
Yeah.
Like, okay. And then the thing is, as my friend who posted it, he immediately went on and edited the post, and he said, it's like, and he just changed it to say like, like, this may not be real, but this is a real problem that we should actually start like.
Well, and then did you
recognizing.
hear? There was a fake news story about a kid getting 25 years he got caught for it.
Yeah.
And that was fake.
Yeah.
Like nobody has been charged with 25 years.
Yeah.
And honestly, they should fucking charge him with 25 years.
Probably.
And what they actually do, because the vast majority of the time it's a minor who's doing it.
Yeah.
And they make either the person who called or the parents of the person who called pay for all of it.
Yeah.
Which ends up being like $10,000 or a little bit more. Why does it cost $10,000? Why are they doing? And the vast majority of the time, I would bet it's like they have drugs, so let's break their fucking door down.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's stupid.
It's all
but the SWAT team should not be used for people who. But that's a whole new topic.
There was another one where like someone posted this thing because they saw an article that it was like, basically the ice age was coming kind of thing. Like, this was like from a month ago, and they saw a thing that like was showing we're gonna have like record snowfall. Like, and again, this was a month ago, so we're talking like late August.
Sure.
And it's just like, God, we're gonna have record snowfall already, and like this is like gonna be the worst winter in the last 60 years, kind of thing. And of course, you click on the link and you scroll to the bottom and look, and click on the about thing, and it says satirical news website,
Right.
and it's just like, okay, so this is fake, and immediately go on the thing and look, and I think someone before I could even comment, someone else had comments like, this isn't real. Like, it's just like if people can't even take the time, like if you're going to take the time to share something and show concern about something.
Read the whole thing?
Well, it's like, even if they read the whole thing, it's like, look, if it seems a little verbose and a little out there, like look into it a little farther than the outside, you know? Like actually go down to that bottom section, find the about link, click on it, and just read a little bit.
Well, and then the thing too is that people don't read the whole thing. Like,
a lot of people
a lot
they
of
read
people,
the headline,
the
first
tag it.
paragraph, and then that's it.
Yeah. And then Amy one time was on Facebook, and somebody posted Obama planning on attacking Mall of America with ISIS.
Yep, I saw that one.
And they posted it on Facebook, and I was like, oh, for the love of God.
I know
And
who
then-
posted that too. I remember that.
And then I opened up the website, and I'm sure fucking the NSA knows that I looked at the website now, but whatever.
You horrible person.
The other day I looked up how to dispose of a body. So
That's true.
curiosity got the best of me. Anyway, so I looked at it. So first of all, it was the actual truth. It was something like theactualtruth.wordpress.com, which means that's a subdomain of WordPress.com, which means that WordPress.com is hosting that site for free, and it's their shitty blog because they're not willing to spend $4 on a domain and $5 a month for hosting.
Yeah.
Which then means that they don't give a shit about their opinion enough to have their own domain, which kind of fares poorly on them. Anyway,
Yeah.
2, at the top, realnuclear.google.com, which was, or .google blog or whatever the hell Google uses. What was it? Like the Bible Future or something .wordpress.com, which was basically like, in Revelations it says this, and then over here Obama is black, so those things are the same. And it's like, you're an idiot. And then they're like, everyone that they were sponsoring at the top, like, you need to look into these guys too.
Yeah.
Totally just like shit. This website itself, shit. And it's just like, okay, don't post stuff that's obviously bullshit, because this is obviously some nutcase. And then on top of that, at the very bottom of the site, it said, in what I can remember it saying, like just in my own words, it said, we post things about future terrorist attacks to spread the word about them before they happen, to ensure they don't happen.
Okay.
So what they're saying is, by getting the word out there, it's stopping these attacks from happening. So that means you can't discredit anything they say, because they can say, we stopped it.
Yeah.
Mall of America didn't get attacked. You know why? Because we said it here. Bam!
So not only are they just spewing bullshit, they actually end up gaining some sort of satirical, fictional credibility.
Well, I think it's just like a delusional credibility. It's not, I think they take themselves seriously. Well,
the problem
I think,
is people are dumb and they want to spread their dumb.
Yes.
And they just don't stop.
and the internet is a perfect place to spread your dumb.
It's a perfect farm. There's so much fertile land.
That's
for
why
dumb.
we need to create a new internet for dumb people that dumb people can use. And they won't get that they're not on our
We're going
internet.
way over time, but I cannot not mention this, dude.
Okay.
Do you want to join the $10,000 Facebook with me?
Is that, what is
It's the new social media
Is it
thing
like
where it
Ewu
costs
or-
like $3,000 to join it,
what,
and then it
what is
costs
it
like
called?
I forget the fuck what it's called. I linked it once before on like something, and I was like, oh yeah, it's like $3,000 just to join, and then it's like hundreds of dollars a month to stay in it.
Wow.
It's basically Facebook for rich people.
Wow.
So that you don't have to interact with all those disgusting poor people. So I'm thinking we just like sell our houses and
Houses.
well, we'll steal our parents' houses and sell them.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we can be part of Rich Facebook.
So here's my thing. Let's make a richer Facebook.
Like $10,000 to join, $10,000 a month to stay.
No, let's go $50,000.
Okay, so the only people that'll be in it is like Richard Branson and Donald Trump, and then they'll just have like a chat occasionally.
Yep. And then it'll just like automatically post things to them by fake people.
And
so like,
Bill Gates will go in there, just be like, "You guys are dumb," and then delete.
well,
his
and the thing
account.
too is we'll have to make like fake accounts so that it looks like it's populated with a bunch of data.
Yeah.
And then we can use that then to make people think that it's really popular.
So we just need to pretend that we're at least 20 dozen rich people.
Yeah.
To make
And the code-
actual rich people join.
And then in the very end, what we'll do is we'll release all of their data to the public so they can just crash and burn.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
And we'll have like $20 million.
Yeah.
Winning.
And
All
then
right.
and then we'll use that money on us to be awesome.
Yeah. We will start the nuclear generation.
Oh my god, that would be awesome.
Let's build our own
Actually,
reactor.
I was thinking of this. If I was super rich, if I was Bill Gates, I would get a nuclear reactor, I'd build it, and then I'd use all the profits from the nuclear reactor to make another nuclear reactor, and then I would use all those profits from those 2 nuclear reactors to make another nuclear reactor, and then the profits made off of the first nuclear reactor would only go towards employees and stuff, and then it would just be ridiculously cheap power, and then these 2 reactors, I would get money from those to make another reactor, and then that second reactor would go down to a spot where, so then after a while each reactor would basically be like a super non-profit.
I'm pretty sure he's too busy trying to get clean water to the entire planet
Fuck
right now.
clean water.
Well, there's all those people that are all like, I can only drink dirty, muddy river water because we don't actually have clean water.
Yeah, but you know what's going to be awesome? When you have a nuclear power plant that's also putting radiation into your water so you don't live as long. Boom!
All right.
Go
Podcast
America.
Done.
We're done.